Hi everyone, Eileen Veilleux, the PM here. Welcome to a new series in our mini mental health series, and in this series we are covering schizophrenia. This is going to be episode 1 in it, so let's get started. Schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder in which people interpret reality abnormally. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucinations, delusions, or extremely disordered thinking and behavior that impairs daily functioning and can be disabling. Now, people with schizophrenia require lifelong treatment. Early treatment may help get symptoms under control before serious complications develop and may help improve the long-term outlook. Some of the symptoms of schizophrenia range from thinking, cognition, behavior, or emotions. Signs and symptoms may vary, but usually involve delusions, hallucinations, or disorganized speech and reflect an impaired ability to function. Now, these symptoms may include delusions. Delusions are false beliefs that are not based in reality. For example, you think that you're being harmed or harassed. Certain gestures or comments are directed at you. You have exceptional ability or fame. Another person is in love with you, or a major catastrophe is about to occur. Delusions occur in most people with schizophrenia, so that is a common symptom of schizophrenia. Hallucinations. These usually involve seeing or hearing things that don't exist. Yet, for the person with schizophrenia, they have full force and impact of a normal experience. Hallucinations can be in any of the senses, but hearing voices is the most common hallucination that they have. Disorganized thinking or speech. Disorganized thinking is inferred from disorganized speech. Effective communication can be impaired, and answers to questions may be partially or completely unrelated. Rarely, speech may include putting together meaningless words that can't be understood, sometimes known as a word salad. Um, Another symptom is extremely disorganized or abnormal motor behavior. This may show in a number of ways, from childlike silliness to unpredictable agitation. Behavior isn't focused on a goal, so it's hard to do tasks. Behavior can include resistance to instructions, inappropriate or bizarre posture, a complete lack of response, or useless and excessive movement. Negative symptoms of schizophrenia. This refers to reduced or lack ability to function normally. For example, the person may neglect personal hygiene or appear to lack emotion, doesn't make eye contact, doesn't change facial expressions, or speaks in a monotone. Also, the person may have may lose interest in everyday activities, socially withdraw, or lack the ability to experience pleasure. Symptoms can vary in a type of severity over time, with periods of worsening and remission of symptoms. Some symptoms may always be present. In men, schizophrenia symptoms typically start in the early to mid-20s. In women, symptoms typically begin in the late 20s. It's uncommon for children to be diagnosed with schizophrenia and rare for those older than 45. So you see, schizophrenia normally hits people when they're in their 20s. The only thing I know about schizophrenia um, is a friend of mine in back in New Hampshire when we went to visit. She had one of the rare cases of it. She was fine, and then for some reason, I don't know if it's from a nervous breakdown that she had or what, but she got schizophrenia at a later age, like in her mid 60s or 50s. So, but we'll be covering a lot of that. Symptoms in teenagers. Now remember, we said that it mainly hits people in their 20s, but sometimes, very rarely, it will hit older people, like I just mentioned, or teenagers. So we're going to cover what it would be like when it hits a teenager. Schizophrenia symptoms in teenagers are similar to those in adults, but the condition may be more difficult to recognize. This may be part because some of the early symptoms of schizophrenia in teenagers are common for typical development during teen years, such as withdrawal from friends and family, a drop in performance at school, trouble sleeping, irritability or depressed mood, lack of motivation. And we all know teenagers go through that normally. So, if you have a teenager, don't think just because you're hearing is, oh, my child has schizophrenia, because that is part of their teen development as well. So, you need to listen to all of it. Compared with schizophrenia symptoms in adults, teens may be less likely to have delusions, but more likely to have visual hallucinations. When should you see a doctor? Anybody with schizophrenia often lack awareness that their difficulties stem from a mental disorder that requires medical attention. So that's going to be up to family and friends to bring that to you, because any type of mental health disorder, when people have it, they think they don't, and they think that they have things in control when they really don't. No matter whether it's depression, schizophrenia, or any other type of mental illness. This is why this is important, not just for the person that has it, but friends, family. So if you come across anybody that has any of these symptoms that I mentioned in an adult, you can, try to make sure that they get the proper help that they need. Okay? Now, in helping someone who may have schizophrenia, now you need to really pay attention to this, because you need to know the proper ways to help. It's just, you can't just go and do what you think you should do. There's proper things you need to do. So if you think someone you know may have symptoms of schizophrenia, first of all, talk to him or her about your concerns. Although you can't force them to seek professional help, you can offer encouragement and support and help them find a qualified doctor or mental health professional. If your loved one poses a danger to themselves, or a friend of yours poses a danger to themselves or others, or can't provide his or her own food, clothing, or shelter, you need to call 911 or any other emergency responders in your area from help. so that that loved one can be evaluated by a mental health professional, because some of them in the severe cases won't be able to care for themselves. And when you're not a doctor, don't play doctor. Immediately call 911 so they can get evaluated, and they could find out what it is, because it may not be schizophrenia, it could be something else. In some cases, emergency hospitalization may be needed. Laws on involuntary commitment for mental health treatment vary by state. You can contact your community mental health agencies or police departments in your area for any details if you should need to. Um, Suicidal thoughts and behavior are common among people with schizophrenia. If you have a loved one or a friend who is in danger or attempting suicide or has made a suicide attempt, please, I implore you, please make sure someone stays with that person. Call 911 or your local emergency number immediately. Don't waste any time. Or if you think you can